All right, guys, Matt Driver here, 5x3 Fishing, and today we're going to be talking with Alan Gray from FLW Outdoors about the BFL. He's a tournament director for the BFL. We're going to be discussing on how to pair up and kind of go through your weekend while you're fishing a tournament if you've never fished a BFL before. Alan?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, first of all, we talk about BFLs, and I've been looking at across the board at the amount of participants in the BFLs here lately, and my observation is it's just a well-run tournament, and I think a lot of people are enjoying fishing it.
You're exactly right. We've been doing this a long time. FLW's been running tournaments for 18, 20 years, so it's just not a product that we put together overnight. It's been tested and done wrong 1,000 different ways. I tell you, every weekend we're still learning another way to make the tournaments run smoother, run better, more efficient for the anglers, and that helps the numbers as well as just a good group of employees and staff and fishermen that we have.
Yeah, a lot of times, people say, "Hey, I'm ready to sign up." They're wanting to go as a co-angler. Maybe they want to step up and go as a boater. Let's discuss that a little bit. What's the difference? For the guys out there that have never done this, what is the difference between a boater and a co-angler?
Well, pretty simple. Obviously, and it's a conversation we have constantly. But a boater is an angler that owns his own equipment, owns his own truck, owns his own boat, and he'll fish on the front of the boat. It's his boat, his equipment. He'll be on the trolling motor fishing from the front deck. It's kind of like we have a tournament within a tournament.
Mm-hmm.
All the boaters will compete against each other, and all the co-anglers, which are anglers that don't own the boat, they're drawn with a guy that owns the equipment. It's a random draw. It's blind. So basically, it's almost like the old pro-am days.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll have a tournament on the back side of the boat for the co-anglers and kind of a tournament on the front side of the boat with the boaters. And we'll have two champions at the end of the day, one on the boater side, one on the co-angler side. So the co-anglers, it's a great learning experience. It's really a self-built organization or product where if I don't own a boat and I want to learn how to fish new techniques or new lakes, I sign up as a co-angler, and they're going to pair me with a boater, and I'm going to go out and learn maybe some new areas, some new techniques, and at the same time have an opportunity to win some money and just have to make a new friend.
Right. Well, all right, we're getting ready. We're ready to sign up. We always hear, and other guys out there, you hear of pairing up with somebody else and finding a partner to sign up with. I think a lot of misconception is that partner is going to be somebody that you're going to be fishing with. And really what it's going to do is it's going to equal out the field. Tell us a little bit about finding a partner to pair up with when you sign up.
Yeah, to be guaranteed in our tournaments. And what I mean by guaranteed is we've had an unbelievable year where an overwhelming response of boaters may come into a tournament or an overwhelming response of co-anglers may come into a tournament to the point that we're having hypothetically 180 boaters sign up and only 150 co-anglers.
Mm-hmm.
But to be guaranteed that you're going to use your boat as a boater and fish from the front deck of your boat, you get paired up with a co-angler and sign up with FLW at our corporate office together. Basically, it's like you said, it's helping keep an even field. There's several forums out there. I've seen them on Bass Boat Central. I've seen them. There's a couple good forums in Texas. There's a forum on Facebook. There's tons of forums out there where guys are meeting other anglers and they're not pre-fishing with each other. They're not paired with each other for the day. They're just signing up with each other, so it helps us keep the boaters and the co-anglers even. Now, what that'll do, like I said, to keep that boater guaranteed to fish with his boat, he won't get a boat-on-boat draw where he's sharing his equipment with another boater.
Right.
On the co-angler side, some of these tournaments, for example, the Michigan division, we'll have probably 100 to 120 co-anglers on a waiting list, more than boaters.
Right.
And what that would do, if they're paired up with a boater, or linked up is what we call it, they will be guaranteed to be in the tournament. They won't be on that long waiting list and have to wait and, on pins and needles, see if they even get in the tournament. So it's a good opportunity to ensure that they're going to be in the tournament if they sign up with a guaranteed partner by the priority registration dates. Now, the priority registration date is the most important part because each tournament in the BFL has that priority entry deadline date, and it's 10 days before each tournament. So that's something that we always try to keep in mind, and, of course, it's in our brochures. It's on our website. But if guys will sign up 10 days, at least 10 days prior to the tournament, with that counterpart, they'll be guaranteed to fish.
All right, now that we've signed up and we're getting ready to fish the tournament, let's talk about check-in just a little bit. I know that's part of it. Before the tournament, I believe as of Thursday, 8 a.m. Central Time Thursday, you can actually check in. Tell us how you do that.
Well, just even to go back on that last point we made, we'll go back to check-in, but I do want to touch base on this one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
If this does sound really confusing and new to guys anything they need. That's our job. We're here for them. Our phones are on 24 hours a day, and we'll do our best to help them and answer any questions we can, off the clock, on the clock. But going to your point, your next question about getting registered, you're right. Starting 8 a.m. on Thursday, the week of the tournament, anglers can call the office, go to the website, or even utilize the app that we have, and they can check in. Now, guys always say, "Well, I'm already checked in. I'm already paid for the tournament." But no, on Thursday and Friday, we need to hear from you saying, "Yes, I'm still a go. Yes, I'm still in this tournament. I want to check in for the meeting on Friday night." And what that does, that tells us you're good to go. We're going to put you in the pairing, and we're going to get you on the water. Now, if you don't check in, we just assume that you changed your mind, or you're not fishing, or something may have come up, and you're not going to be in the pairings. And that's always the worst call that we get on Friday night after registration. "Hey, I didn't get the pairings. What did you check in on Thursday or Friday?" And they say, "I didn't know I was supposed to." So that's a pretty important deal. Now, there's another way around it. You don't have to check in on Thursday and Friday by phone. We'd love to see you at the Walmart parking lot where we hold 99% of our registration meetings. We'd love to see you Friday night between 4 and 6, and we have a window, and we have a tournament administrator there in our stage trailer in the Walmart parking lot that will check people in on site if they'd like to just come and hang out with us for a couple hours before the meeting.
Well, you know, a lot of people, I don't like to use the word gripe, but you hear a lot of people complain and say, "Oh, there's so many hoops I have to jump through." It's really not that hard, and ultimately, it's about organization. And for those guys out there that have fished tournaments, nothing is worse than getting to a tournament that is unorganized, that is chaotic. And that's one thing that I see at FLW, that you do a really good job of organizing and making sure those fishermen are taken care of.
Yeah, like I said before, we've made 1,000 mistakes of how not to run a tournament.
Yeah.
So we have fine-tuned things, and I tell you what, it's all for the anglers. It's all for the customers anymore. I mean, the way we set these things up and run them, like you said, we've gotten to the point, I'll be honest with you, I'd like to take the credit for running some good tournaments, but they almost run themselves anymore. It's there for the customer, and everything's built around their convenience, from the apps to the online registration to the text messaging program. You know, if this is someone's first tournament, we'll text message you your confirmation to make sure you know you're in the tournament. We'll text message you your pairings on Friday night when we do pair you up with your boater or Coangler. We'll text message you that evening what time your check-in is tomorrow. After the tournament, not just jump ahead, but after the tournament, we text message you where you ended up, what your divisional standings are, what it took to win. So just like you said, the organization of everything that goes through these things is what is pretty much the key to a lot of the success that we've been having, especially this year.
Now that we're paired up, you know, you've met your partner, you've called your partner, you talked with them about where to meet them in the morning, and you're preparing to get in the boat with that boater and co-angler partnership. Tell us a little bit about some things that these co-anglers and boaters are going to have to do that are rules with FLW as far as safety and getting ready to check their boat in for the morning.
Sure. There's two probably most important parts of a tournament, and one being safety. We got to get you out fishing, have a good time, but back home to your families. You know, we don't want anyone not making it home. But secondly, of course, is fish care, and we'll get to that. But safety is most important. So starting out Saturday morning, like you said, we've met our partner, we've called, it's time to go fishing. And Saturday morning, we do have a quick, what we call a boat inspection or a boat check procedure. And we want to make sure everyone has a life jacket that's buckled up, zipped up, it fits them properly. We check our emergency ignition shut-off devices. What that is, it's also here, there's a kill switch, but we want to make sure that's attached to the driver's body. Anytime the combustion engine is running, we do make sure that it works when they pass through our boat inspection or boat check area. We ensure that does work. And at that time, we also check everyone's live wells, make sure the aerator's pumping. Because like I said, fish care is probably the second most important thing, to us, the resources of these lakes. So if someone comes through, they don't have a life jacket, second life jacket for the co-angler, their aerators don't work, or live wells don't work, they're a no-go. And unfortunately, they're not going to go fishing with us for the day. So it is pretty important. I always tell the boaters it doesn't hurt to put a second life jacket in the boat. And I always tell co-anglers, if you want to go to a tournament, you got a lucky life jacket, you might want to bring it. Because if the boater doesn't have a second, unfortunately, we're not going to go safety first.
Right. Yeah, and so we go through boat check. They basically, you go up and you say, "Hey, I'm boat number 5," and you get tossed a float to return at the end of the day. And tell us a little bit about that. How does that work? And as far as getting that float back to y'all so you can document it.
Yeah. Well, once you've done that boat inspection or boat check procedure, it's game time. That's when the goosebumps for me as a tournament, not only my tournament director, but I fish tournaments myself. But that's when the nerves start kicking in, almost the adrenaline rush, because you're fixing to hit that boat as fast and hard as you can to your first stop. But just before it's time to go fishing, we have a quick word of prayer, and we can always play the national anthem in respect for our country, and we get it going. We count them down, 1 through whatever the tournament field may be. It's time to go. And like you said, this is a 5x3 radio product. It's time to catch 5 fish by 3 o'clock, regardless, or what y'all say is no excuses.
Yep.
Bring us 5 fish to the scales. Let's make it happen. We're going to crown a champion. We'll weigh him, pay him, and we hope everybody has a great day.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about limits. You talked about 2 separate anglers, basically 2 separate tournaments going on with a co-angler and a boater. Each person has the opportunity to weigh in 5 fish as a boater and 5 fish as a co-angler. So a total of 10 fish in the boat. Each are weighed under the individual's separate weights. And
like you said, you're looking. I'm sorry, I didn't cut you off. You're looking for 5 fish. That's the tournament limit. Every state has a different size limit. Every state has different qualifications of what a keeper is not. So of course, as the tournament director, we look up each lake and what those size limits are, and then bringing 5 of those league fish in by the end of the day. Now, of course, we've got a column or an upgrade system. Of course, as soon as you get your fixed keeper, it's larger than anything you have in the live well. Of course, you can put it in the live well before you make another cast. You've got to cull out the smaller fish. And that happens, like you said, on the boater side as well as the co-angler side. So, yes, at one point, we hope there's 10 keepers in the boat where the boater will weigh the 5 fish that he thought that he could weigh, and the co-angler will weigh the 5 fish that he caught. So going all the way back to the beginning of this conversation, yeah, it's a tournament within a tournament.
All right. We come in to weigh in. We're in flights, and you'll be given those flights on the Friday night before on a time to be in. You have to be in at 2:15, 2:45, whatever it may be. You come to weigh your fish. I've got my own personal weigh-in bag in my boat. I'm just going to load my fish up, right?
That happens a lot, I promise you. But we try to tell you, no. Our scales are extremely sensitive, and they're calibrated to the exact weight of an FLW weigh bag. So we've calibrated our weigh bag, so we issue each angler a weigh bag. Now, not that everybody gets them at the same time, because, again, fish pairs are important. So we only put 30 weigh bags out at a time. We want those fish staying in your nice, cool, ice-bound, aerated live wells, resting, nice and easy, less stress than sitting in just some weigh bags. So we put 30 weigh bags out. Basically, first come, first serve. The anglers get their bags, they put their fish in, and they walk to our stage area. Now, this is where I like to explain on stage. Basically, the process of the fish that we make sure they go back into the lake in which they're caught from alive in a healthy manner. They sit in the aerated live well all day. We check the live wells in the morning. We know they work. They come up, they get a bag. They fill their bag with water, and they put their catch of the day inside that aerated water bag. They make their way to our tubs. Once the fish get to our tubs, they just don't sit and burn the oxygen. We have oxygenated or air-pumped holding tubs for each one of our anglers. Basically, you can fit 25, 30 bags of fish in these tubs, and it produces some good oxygen. You put back for the fish. They sit in water. It's a good deal. We go up to the bump station where our official bump person will check the fish, make sure they're of legal limit, make sure they're still alive. That's when they do drain the bags. So we do want to weigh just the fish. The fish come to the scales with me. We give them official weight, and immediately when they walk off stage, we have oxygenated water just to the left or right of the stage that they put the water back on those fish, and either they're going to our live release area or actual FLW live release boat, in which we use this weekend on Lake Gunnersville.
Right. Well, I just caught a 10-pounder at Lake Gunnersville, and I really want to take that 10-pounder home and get it mounted. You just going to let me take it?
That's a tough spot. I'll be honest with you. I've seen some 10 and 11 pounders weighed in, and we've requested them to release those fish back to the lake. Let someone else catch that fish another day. Now, it's up to the angler. I'll be honest with you. It's all about conservation, and we're there. We're borrowing that lake for the day, so we want the locals to be able to have that chance to catch the fish. But if someone catches a fish of a lifetime, we try to convince them to put it back in the lake and get a replica. And I tell you what, 99.9% of the times they do, and they've taken the measurements and everything, and we put it in the release boat, we de-stress the fish and let it swim another day. But sometimes I tell you what, as an official license holder or fishing license holder of that state, we can't stop someone from taking it if they really want to take it home. But I can promise you, we persuade them as best as we can. Let that fish back in the lake and get a replica made.
Got you. One last thing before we go. What is the pie in the sky? What is the be-all, end-all of the BFL? What are we trying to achieve by the end of the year?
Man, the deal on this is the All-American. Guys fish these tournaments for regionals. And to make a regional is a pretty tough deal. You're fishing in 5 different lakes usually, or 5 tournaments where you're fishing against someone's backyard. And the name of the game is the All-American. To make the All-American, you've got to be in the top 50 on the boater side or the top 50 on the Coangler side to go to the regional. Now, the regional is a pretty cool deal because you've been paying entry fees all year. This is a no entry fee championship, basically, where boaters are going to be fishing for $20,000 in cash and a Rangers V518T with a 200 horsepower Mercury or Evinrude of their choice. The co-anglers, they're going to be fishing for that same Rangers V518T and the same motors and my 200 horsepower Mercury or Evinrude, among many other payouts. In fact, we've increased our payouts into the regionals for 2015 and going forward by $400,000, and there's only 6 regionals. So we put a lot of money into the regionals, and we hope that makes a big difference. But now, the regionals, you've got to make the top 6. The top 6 boaters and the top 6 co-anglers in that tournament, again, which is a free tournament, will go on to fish the All-American, and like I said, that's where it's at. I mean, your travel expenses to get there are paid. You fish from a brand-new Rangers V520 or V521. That we furnish. We furnish you fuel. We furnish you oil. We furnish your hotels. We furnish you travel for your family. It's the championship of all championships when it comes to the BFL. And of course, the winner of the BFL All-American goes on to fish the Forestwood Cup, which we've had guys win $1 million at the Forestwood Cup before. So it's the way to go.
Yeah. Now, once we've done that, there's one more thing. If you make a certain percentage that you qualify for the next level beyond the BFL. Let us know a little bit about that before we go.
Sure. We're a stepping stone program. We raise our pros kind of from within, if you will. I mean, guys like, look, we just had the tournament down on Lake Eufaula with Troy Morrow. Look at Brian Thrift. These guys started the grassroots fishing in the BFL, the weekend anglers. And once guys gain a certain amount of success in the BFL, we encourage them, you need to make this next step. If you end up in the top 50 boaters or co-anglers in the BFL, you do gain priority entry into the FLW Rayovac Series the following year. The Rayovac Series is a pretty cool deal. It's 3 to sometimes 4 qualifiers and a Rayovac championship. And it's the same thing there. That's the next level up. They're 3-day tournaments. And once an angler becomes or gains a certain amount of success in that division, we start to groom them and prop them, and we look for them to gaining priority entry into the SLW Tour, making that next step, and making fishing a career. And again, I mean, you look at anglers like Zach Birch. I mean, we can't talk enough about him coming out of Oklahoma. Like I said, Brian Thrift, he worked his way up through. Troy Morrow was a BFL All-American champion, started in BFLs. You saw he had a top 10 finish on Eufaula this past week. So just about 75 to 80% of the FLW tours, and even over on the bass side. I mean, Randy Howell, the Classic champion, he started with FLW. Chris and Bobby Lane, Steve Kennedy, you name it, those guys came from the Walmart BFL. So great stepping stones, and we love to see guys move their future on and see what they can do later in their career.
Yeah, well, this definitely is the way to go, in my opinion. And, Alan, we appreciate you being on. You always run a good tournament. And, guys, get out there and find out who your local tournament director is. And if you have any questions, don't think ask. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I see a lot of people that are misconceived on certain things. The best thing to do is call FLW, talk to one of these tournament directors, find out straight from the horse's mouth, for lack of words, and get out there and enjoy it.
Let me tell you that, last but not least, I know you were closing out there, but probably the most number of calls that I get is guys say, man, one day I'm going to be good enough to fish in the BFL. And I tell guys all the time, you will be surprised how well you can compete at this level. And there are several anglers, Rodney and Degree, him and his wife, they both from Michigan, for example. They came to us 2 years ago, and he said, man, I just love to fish the BFL one day. I said, dude, you need to get in this, or you'd be surprised. And he got a check. I think he got 6th or 12th place on his very first one. Him and his wife both got checks on that first one. And they realized that if they put their head down, they keep a line wet, they're just as good as some of these guys. So the guys out there that don't think they can do it, jump in here and just see what it's about. Give us a call. Let us worry about the organization part. You just fish, have a good time.
Yes, excellent stuff, guys. Well, we appreciate you being on today, bud, and I'm sure we'll have you on in the future. Like I said, we want to talk more about this stuff and get these guys, like you said, groomed from coming from maybe a club tournament trail and get them ready for this BFL and just move them up through their careers. So we appreciate you being on today, Alan.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Guys, thanks for listening in. 5x3, the station for the nation, and I hope you enjoyed this interview, and we'll see you later.